future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
I called him by the right name. I called you by the right name. I'm
Now we need
so
applause.
impressed with myself. The only way I can even start is with all that applause, right? All right, everybody. All right, you can bring it down now. I get it. Like, all my fans are, like, so clapping for me. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Shut Up. It's me, Deborah and Linda.
Remember me? She looks at me like, what's your name?
Because I'm really, really bad with names. I always call Kurt Craig. We have this really adorable, smart, great actor in studio. We're going to go to him a little
really
later.
cute,
His name's
too.
Riley. I want to
Woo-hoo.
call him like something else. I mean, but other than that, we're going to hear from him a little later. He's been doing some incredible work, and we want to hear about it. But right now, we've got somebody really interesting, a journalist, a features editor with the Bloomberg Weekly or Bloomberg Week.
Business.
Bloomberg Business Week. Sorry about that. Sheelah Kolhatkar, right? Did I get that right?
That was very good.
Oh my gosh, I did it. Linda's just looking at me like, Deborah, how did you even get here?
I'm just glad you're here. That's
Yeah,
all.
She knows. Like,
Sheelah,
yeah.
we're talking about the big story of the week, which is the Ashley Madison
Yeah.
scandal, the hacking job.
I gotta say something about this thing. I have a lot of things to say about it. I'm not supposed to ask my guest, the actor here. Do you know anything about what that thing is, Ashley Madison?
I mean, I know about what's going on with it.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, so again, I won't ask you too much, but I never knew about this thing. Okay, call me stupid, but I'm married and I did not know about what Ashley Madison was. I guess it's a good thing because my husband came home and he works on the radio. He works for KFI Radio and he goes, Deborah, did you hear about this Ashley Madison thing? I'm like, well, who's Ashley Madison? He goes, it's a website. They've got millions, I don't know, hundreds of millions,
Yeah.
tens of millions of people who go on and they sign up because they want to hook up with other married people. And I'm
Discreet
like,
affairs.
I'm like, wow, interesting. Like, how does that work? So he was explaining it to me, and then he was really captivated by your story, Sheelah. So can you tell us a little bit about how the heck you got sort of wrapped up in this whole Ashley Madison affair? No pun on words, but and then what happened to you?
Sure. Well, the story for me began in 2011 when I was assigned to write a cover story for Bloomberg Business Week magazine, where I work, about the company. And we thought it would be interesting to take a look at, from a business standpoint, at a company that has such a sort of controversial product that's so distasteful to so many people, and to sort of ask the question, how do you, promote a product like this? How do you make this successful? How do the employees sort of cope with the stigma of working there? And as part of my research for that piece, I signed up for the service, and I went and created a profile on their website. I gave myself the.
Are you married?
I am married. I am married. I am married. I am a mother.
Were you married then?
So this was legitimate business research as far as I was concerned. I used my work credit card to do this. I gave myself a handle, Red Velvet 2.
You didn't have your own server. You used the server from work. Not like
Yeah,
Hillary.
that's it. No, I wasn't trying to hide what I was doing.
Not
I was
like
quite
Hillary.
open about it. My husband knew all about it, and I just wanted to check it out and experience it for myself, so
Maybe
I
he
could
was
wait
on
about it. And I
too.
also,
I mean, sorry.
No,
No,
we can't say that.
okay, all right, I won't say that. Go ahead.
I also wanted to find people who were using it who I could interview for the article. So my interest is sort of twofold, and I did not put a photo up, although I did, specify that I was a female, and I put my age and weight and a few other things. And
So when people approached you for the article, did they know you were undercover?
No, how would they know?
No, I mean,
Well,
so that was part of it, right? To
Yeah,
not let
what
them.
is she going to
No.
put it on there and say, hey, I'm undercover. I want to know what
Well,
you're...
that's kind of.
no, I mean,
I don't like that.
I mean, the first thing I noticed is that anytime I would log on, I guess other users of the site could see that I had logged on. My light was green or whatever it was. I can't remember the color. And I would get sort of inundated by men apparently on the site trying to chat with me or correspond with me. I mean, really just inundated, and they couldn't see what I looked like, or they really knew very little about me, but they were just sort of blasting photos and little notes and wanting to talk and chat and all this stuff. And I was sort of overwhelmed by that. And I thought, wow, there must not be too many women on here, because they're all just acting kind of crazed that there's a female on Ashley Madison at this moment. And so, I wrote back to some of them saying, well, I'm doing this article, will you talk to me?
See?
And
She told them.
for the most part, they did not want to.
They scattered.
I then spent, pardon?
They scattered. They didn't want to talk to you because this is supposed to be discreet.
Yeah,
right?
that's it. Right. I don't blame them.
Think that would've
And
happened.
then I spent some time trolling through female profiles, because I was definitely interested in talking to women who were using it. And I sent messages to some women saying, I'm a journalist, I'm doing this piece, I will protect your identity, would you talk to me? And I did interview a handful of them, and that was really interesting. And, we published our story, and, a lot of people seemed to really like it. It was sort of funny and a look at this thing that a lot of people didn't know existed. And then you fast forward a few years to this sort of massive hacking incident that's been going on over the last couple of weeks. And I was wondering whether my own information would turn up in that hacking, sort of data upload to the internet, because I had been using the site during the time that that they had done this. And sure enough, last Sunday afternoon, I started getting very odd text messages on my cell phone from someone who would not identify themselves, but who claimed to have found me in the Ashley Madison stolen files. And it was a creepy exchange, to say the least.
So you can't reveal what. They
Yeah,
said?
what did they say?
Let's
we need
hear
to
it.
know.
We want the dirt.
Yeah, what did they say? Was it scary or just like really graphic, or what did they do?
It wasn't that exciting. They said, they sort of said hi, and I said, oh, hi, who is this? I didn't recognize the phone number. And the person said, a friend. And then they said, I have found your name in a certain database and was wondering if you could help explain its presence there. And at this point, I wasn't sure what this was about or who this person was. I mean, I figured they were referring to Ashley Madison, but I wondered if perhaps it was a friend of mine playing a joke, or even a colleague. And I tried to ask a few questions that would lead them to, announce themselves if it was in fact someone I knew. And I kept saying, oh, that's very funny, who are you? And then they said, does Blue Velvet 222 mean anything to you? Which was supposed to be a reference to Red Velvet, I am assuming.
Yeah.
And then I said, who are you? And the person said, I'm someone who spent the day reading Ashley Madison's leaked database. It's fascinating stuff. And then they said, what I can't understand is how you got mixed up in this. What were you thinking? And this went back and forth a little bit, and then I finally said, listen, I'm going to report you to the risk department at my company, so if this is a joke, you should tell me now. And then the person went silent, and I have not heard back from them.
Oh, my God.
I wonder who it was. I wonder if it must have been somebody you knew. And then they were just thinking, wow, she went on this thing, and I know who she is, and I need her to, you know what I mean? It sounds like it was somebody you knew, and he wanted you to know that.
Maybe. It was a little menacing, but I wondered, is this person going to ask me for money? I mean, what, they're just trying to torment me. I think there are relatively few women profiles in there, and maybe they were just looking for women to contact. I don't know. The whole thing was very odd.
Okay, but let's get down with the dirty stuff. Like when you did, because that's really what's interesting to me. So when you did this interview with all these anonymous people, and they were going on this website because they were married and wanted to find like other married people to hook up with, what do they do? I mean, somebody said that they like post pictures of their private parts, and I'd be like, oh, disgusting. I don't want to see that. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yes.
What did they do? I mean, did they actually meet each other, or how does this thing work?
Well, there was a range of behaviors that I experienced. I mean, frankly, I think they're not too different from what might happen on any other kind of internet dating site. I mean, there are all sorts, but some of them were respectful notes written in correct English with punctuation. And, I mean, a couple of people sort of wrote to me and said, I'm lonely and maybe you are too, and we should get together, like these sort of almost sad little letters. But then there were, of course, crude, poorly written advanced, sort of aggressive assaults that just would never work on any woman I know. But I almost had a sense that there were just some men who would just blast out things to all sorts of people and to see if anyone wrote back. And it was hard for me to imagine any of those approaches working or being appealing. But again, I wasn't there looking for.
Yeah, you had a different
I wasn't there
reason.
for the reason most of those people. So
It's turned
it was
into
interesting.
sort of a sad story. I think the last time I read, 3 people committed suicide. They don't know if exactly over this, but there's a connection there. 2 people in Canada and someone in.
That's really sad.
It's very sad. I mean, that information getting out, ruining your personal life. I mean, obviously, maybe someone could argue, why were you doing it to begin with? But
well, it's a terrible. I mean, no matter what you think about Ashley Madison and its purpose, it's not my favorite company in the world, right? But it's a terrible invasion of privacy, and it's really not anyone's business.
Right,
it's not anyone's business
what these people are doing, and I personally would rather not know.
Right, exactly.
And
so
it could happen to any company. I mean, that's one thing I think is important to take from this.
I mean, think about it though. It's been happening. Sony Pictures,
right? Sony.
We just went through that, and I just got a letter from UCLA Medical Center saying all my records have been hacked from somebody.
I get those every week.
Yeah,
it's like
so
no matter
when
where
do you
you
pay
go,
attention?
you go and you buy a car or you're at the doctor's or whatever. It's like 3 weeks later, I get a letter. Oh, your information's been hacked. I'm like, you know what? Just have at it. It's really not that friggin' interesting, my shit. It's just
the Social Security, I don't like that. I mean, because they can ruin your credit and everything.
That happened to my dad, and there were like 5 other Anthony Zaras out there purchasing skis somewhere in, Wisconsin, and it took him a really long time.
And that's a big pain.
Yeah,
big pain.
to get his credit straightened out. But you know what? He did, and it does happen.
It does happen.
So, but in this case, I'm just really interested. I mean, then, of course, after reading about all this, I kept going on the site, and I don't mean on the site, but I was reading articles about the site because you really can't get on unless you sign up.
Did you sign up?
No. What am I going to do? Sign up and then then get hacked and have all my stuff out there? Oh, that's all I need.
You said you didn't care.
That would be that would be all over the LA Times in my life. No.
Yeah, you can't do it.
No, but what happens is people. I was inquiring about it. People, I guess, they meet up for coffee. I mean, I guess you're right. It's just like any other
dating site.
And then in a way, though, there's something really sad about it because there's all these married people who feel trapped.
It's a statement of marriage. I mean, to me.
Right? I mean, they all feel so trapped that they have to go.
They're bored out of their mind. They've got to find.
Trapped, bored, whatever, and they got to go find somebody to, kind of hook up with. I mean, did they ever have any success? That's another question.
Well, I talked to some people who had used it and followed through, certainly, but I think there were many more people just trying to meet people and not necessarily getting anywhere. I mean, just the numbers, the disparity between female users and male users suggests that there were a lot of guys just sort of using it to try to arrange something.
I think it could be dangerous. I mean,
it's like going on Craigslist for this kind of
stuff.
And I know people, I don't really know anybody married, but I know people who've gone on Craigslist to look for stuff. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? I mean, that's where you're supposed to go and buy, sell your television.
I can't even do Tinder. I mean, I feel violated. What
Linda's single.
I don't like the whole dating online thing. I feel so violated. I don't like it. I can barely date if someone's sitting right next to me. Oh, what are you looking at?
Next week, you want to hear something funny? We're having a matchmaker on for Linda.
Yeah, she's surprising me, although I found out about it.
But she's like a millionaire matchmaker. She's
That's
got
a
all
little
the
bit
rich
different.
guys.
Okay,
so.
I can handle that.
Yeah.
I'm going to have our next guest fix me up with some nice director in town. We're getting to him.
There you go. Oh, and he's so adorable.
He's
but
so
there's
cute.
no doubt this one's too young for you. So
No,
we're
of
just going to
course,
have to
of
move
course.
on. Maybe he knows the co-star or something that he can set you up with. But so now what? Like this, everything's out there. So what's happening to Ashley Madison?
Class action lawsuit. What do you think of that? I mean, you're in the journalist side of it, the business side of it. I mean, do you think that's going to go anywhere, the class action lawsuit?
Well, that is a good question. I mean, I suppose that users of the site could try and make the argument that Ashley Madison did not do enough to protect their data, and they certainly would have a point in light of what's happened. Now, the company, again, regardless of your personal opinion of what they did, it was not illegal. They were operating a legal business, and they are in a very, very difficult spot now because their business model was based on trust and discretion, and it says so right on the front page of their site. I mean, this is what they're selling. So it's hard to see how they're going to persuade people to trust them again with their most intimate details and information, and things that can really be reputation destroying.
But Sheelah, don't you think that's for anything? Just like you said, you were at UCLA. That's supposed to be like really private stuff.
Right. You sign all the HIPAA forms, and now everyone knows my stuff.
Right. Who needs to know what's really wrong with you?
Right.
So it's kind of out there everywhere. And just like, Sony, who cares really? I guess we do care. But
I think that's interesting.
That's more of on a business angle. People got screwed. But on a personal level, I guess maybe people need to expect it. Maybe if you're going to go on a site like that, just don't use your name. Be like Linda Schmidt or something. And just,
Sorry, Linda Schmidt
make
out
up
there.
some email or something, right? Don't you think? What are people putting their real stuff on there for, right?
I don't understand how someone could do that, but frankly, until pretty recently, I think a lot of people had an expectation that they could maintain privacy online, and
I think those days are gone.
Now we all know that everything can be public at any moment, including our emails and our bank information and our health files and everything. So it's a bit of a scary new turn in things as far as I'm concerned.
So what's the spin-off story for you? Are you thinking
say
of
that?
something?
What's your next story?
My next Ashley Madison story?
Yeah, is there any follow-up spin-off? You can go undercover again and find somebody who's struggling.
I'm interested in the business side of it, and it has a number of very high-profile backers, and
Really?
I'd like to find out what they're planning to do. And I'm interested in the story of how the company is dealing with this,
right?
And
how they would rebound,
what they may try to do to sort of pull themselves out of this. It's a very tough spot, but I think it's interesting. There are lessons for other companies certainly in what they're going through.
Who are some of those high-profile backers?
Pardon?
Who are some of the high-profile backers?
Well, I will send it to you as soon as I publish it in
I like
But
her.
some venture capitalists and people who have other companies.
Are they mainly Canadian? It's a Canadian company based in Toronto.
Yeah, they are. A lot of them are Canadian.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, we'll read that next story.
The site is still up, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, isn't it? Yeah.
Am I
the last time I checked, it was.
Yeah.
So people are still going on there trying to hook up with other people. Do you think it's other people are just freaked out, they're not going on, or they're like, whatever, and they're just still going on trying to find other married people to mess around with?
It's hard to say. There are other ways to go and find that if you want it. So I can imagine all this publicity is driven down their traffic pretty substantially. Now, they do have websites in countries all over the world, and it's possible in some of those places, this hasn't been publicized as widely.
Yeah. Especially in France, they'd be like,
I don't know.
What?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah, there are other places where they have more important things to talk about. So perhaps, perhaps there are people who don't know what's happened.
All right. Well, will you keep us posted on your next story?
Yeah, so
when does that come out?
Of course.
Yeah, your next story on the business side. Is it coming out this
When
week?
is it coming out?
Yeah.
I'm hoping in the next couple of days.
Great.
So I will keep you apprised for sure.
Where do you work out of? You're out of New York?
Yes, I work usually in the Bloomberg headquarters in Midtown Manhattan.
Which is a nice facility.
Yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful.
Linda and I were journalists at CNN, and quite often I go and visit the CNN.
And I've actually met Bloomberg.
Me too.
Yeah, super
when he was
smart.
mayor, and I'm sure you have too, right? So he's
very smart.
No, he's very impressive.
Nice guy too.
Yeah.
I know his sister. Believe it or not.
For how?
It's crazy.
Oh wow.
It's a long story through news.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we really loved hearing your side of it. It's an interesting story. I don't know how this business came about. That's a whole other story in itself, but it's popular.
Yeah.
So,
and to me, it sounds like whoever was calling you is somebody that knows you. There's no doubt about it. I don't know. Something just didn't seem right, so they were trying to mess with you. So, do you have that number? I'd like to call them back.
or maybe it was another. Reporter.
I thought about it, but
another reporter going undercover trying to feel you out.
Something weird about it. If there's a number there, I would call them back, or have your husband call them back.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I don't. I would rather not antagonize whoever it is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so she's much smarter. So me, I'd get on the phone, I'd go go find some anonymous phone line and call him back and say, hey, who are you? But, this is why I always get myself into trouble because I don't know when to stop. All right. Well, Sheelah, thanks a whole lot for coming on. It was really fun. Don't forget to, would you call us back for sure or email us when you have your updated story?
Of course, yes. Okay. My pleasure.
All right.
Great. Thanks. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Okay.
Yeah, have a good day.
Thanks.
Manhattan.
Take care.
Talk to you later. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, so where's my applause? I need it. So, thank you. This poor guy who's coming on next with us.
He's like, who are these women?
He's probably ready to run the hell out of the studio. But I really find that interesting. I do not pass moral judgment on people who feel like they have the need to go do something outside of their marriage. I mean, it wouldn't work for me because I would feel not even
too guilty.
I don't even know if I'd feel guilty. I would just feel like, what's the point? If you're going to do that, just get divorced and go mess around.
Yeah,
right. Seems like it's too complicated.
That's how I feel. Who needs that? Life's hard enough. I don't need any more.
Exactly. I mean, but still, that's messed up. It's obviously somebody.
Let's get to the fun. Yeah. Let's get to fun. That story is pretty dramatic, and it is like a soap opera. That's our segue to our wonderful actor sitting over there. He's so cute.
Well, Linda's got
Riley.
sort of kind of an acting background.
Well,
and she was so excited you were coming on. Her 2 kids are actors.
He met Webb.
Yeah.
The green room. Our
so
green
why
room.
don't we introduce Riley? Okay, let me take a stab at this. Okay.
Go for it.
Bodenstab?
No.
Close,
wait,
no.
Bodenstab.
There you go. There it is.
Oh my God, I did it. When we took 2 times. Bodenstab. You know what? We need to put together a little reel of all the times I screw up everybody's name. I think that would be great. And just put it right at the top of the show. It would be every week. But
Riley,
Bodenstab. Bodenstab.
Now, I think people can see how darling he is. Days of Our Lives. How many years? How many seasons or whatever they call it for soap operas?
Yeah, I've been on and off for about 2 years now. So it's been
Was
a
that
really
your first
interesting
big
experience.
booking? First big job in the business? Would you say?
I mean, yeah, in a lot of ways, I would say it was. But interestingly enough, my first big booking was a small one-line role on 90210. So
Ooh, wait, how long ago?
Way back?
Oh, not that way back. Right before.
Do you ever look at that
days.
tape when you go? Do you ever look at it and say, "Oh my God, look at me"?
I don't like watching myself. So
wait a
no.
minute, the original.
It's more like, oh, look at me.
The original 90210. That one, from way back with Shannon. And
No.
He wasn't even
I was
born.
going to say
then.
he would have been like a toddler on
He
that
would
show.
have been in diapers as the one little kid.
Well, that's why I had to ask. You could see how far back I go because that's the one I used to watch.
Yeah, me too.
Those guys were adorable and they're still really cute. So, all right. So I like to know people's backgrounds. So you're from Seattle.
I am, yeah.
Yeah. And do you have an acting background back there?
I actually didn't. I have a filmmaking background, but nothing really crazy in depth other than I loved filmmaking since I was a little kid. I started shooting films on our home video camera when I was 6 and learned Final Cut editing program when I was 11. I just loved it. I never really thought of it as a career.
Wow.
And
so that's in your blood. You can tell. If you were doing it that young, you're meant to be doing it.
Yeah, I love it. And I actually finding a passion for acting was kind of the catalyst that really got me down here. I was actually in engineering school in Santa Clara
I
University.
can't see you doing that.
I can.
I mean, you're smart. I don't mean it like that. He's too cool looking. When have you seen an engineer looking like that?
That's so funny. I've always been such a nerd.
I get that because I used to be a math major. Okay, and people were like, "You're sitting there doing calculus." I'm like, "Yeah, I was really into it. I was a major nerd." But then, in my sophomore year, I'm like, "What am I going to do with this thing? I don't want to teach math." So I just
from engineering to acting, that's quite a leap, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a major leap.
Did you have to quit school or?
I dropped out of school and I.
What did your mom say?
Here.
Was she like, "What are you doing?"
I think it was more what they didn't say. I mean, they were just kind of in shock.
Yeah.
I mean, I started switching my majors, so the only thing that wasn't a crazy shock about it was that I switched to communications for film.
Okay.
Right away, because it was the only thing they had at the school that had a TV kind of news broadcasting communications.
Oh, so you've done a little bit of this. That's why you're so good at it.
He's good
Barely,
at it. Yeah. He's a natural.
Well, thank you. And then I was getting into theater as on the side. So so my entire freshman year, pretty much right away, I got into it. But it was like a side thing.
You
they thought,
eased
you know what I
into
mean?
it,
Yeah. So, but it was kind of a shock to them when I said I was dropping out because it was only 2 weeks before I was supposed to go back.
Ooh.
Actually, I think it was even almost days.
Well, they
before.
must be proud of you now.
Yeah,
You're on
no,
your
they're
way.
definitely.
So then, okay, so from Seattle, what? You took the bus down, you flew down here, a little suitcase, and
Packed
then
up my stuff, drove my car down, Toyota 4Runner, like old one, beat up.
And
Like-
did you
Isn't
know
that always the
anyone
way?
here? I love these stories because
I knew
it's
no
just
one here.
no one. So you pull into LA, and where do you stay? I mean, how do you do that?
That was
That was the hard.
process.
That's the hard part. The housing. That's
yeah,
the
you
hard
know
part.
the funny thing, I found like short-term housing. I got really screwed not
Don't
knowing
say
the
you
city
stayed
a
in
lot of
Oakwood,
times.
please.
No, I did
that's
not stay- I
expensive.
I
That's
couldn't
like almost
afford
like
that.
corporate
That's
housing.
where all the crazy moms with kids come.
Yeah,
I've met them all, and they're insane. My kid, put him in the movie.
Yeah, I've done a story on
Yeah.
what are you people called? Like
Momagers.
stage moms.
I am not a stage mom.
No, because you don't live at the Oakwood. But I mean, if you did, but it's true. They put them up there, and besides, it's too expensive. He wouldn't have been able to
Yeah.
afford that.
no,
So
in fact,
okay, so you
I
found
even,
some place.
I even like when the recession hit, like right after I got here, it was like,
Yeah.
I had a hard time finding a job and things, and I was living out of my car at one point for a while.
Homeless.
And yeah,
That's a
and,
good story.
I
Tell the publicist.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I
Not
mean,
homeless,
yes, not
but, you know.
homeless. I by that point I
Car's
did
a
have enough
home.
friends that I was living out of a lot of. I mean, just
Yeah.
living out of my car and sleeping on couches when I could. But I mean, I spent a good amount of nights in the car.
Yeah.
But they were kind of scattered.
Right,
throughout.
so you could
So-
get. You know, Dustin Hoffman did that. He stayed with Robert Duvall in New York in his kitchen floor near the refrigerator. I read it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, great people. That's how
My
they-
husband did that when he first started in radio, and he's a pretty successful guy in this town, actually. But he did when he first started out at night. He would sleep at a ton. The doctor would charge him like $50 a month. I don't know who would go to this doctor during the day. He would sleep in the like lobby or something.
wow.
That's so I get it. I mean,
you do what you
people,
gotta do,
You
you
do
know?
what you got to do. If you've got this passion, you just like
Yeah, you
figure
gotta
it
follow
out.
your
It's
heart.
not an easy road, and
No.
you know, no
No.
one wants
People
to just
don't
hand
know
it to you
how
on
hard
a
it
silver
is.
platter.
Acting
No.
is hard.
I mean-
in terms of getting. You know, what do you think? I don't
Yeah,
want to answer
mean,
for you.
I don't know. I mean, I think people kind of do because it's so talked about.
Right.
But I think that what people don't realize is that it's not. I think the missed thing is that there's no such thing really as an overnight success.
Right. Yeah.
You know that it's built over time,
Yeah.
and I mean I'm sure there are the few anomalies, but they're not even the anomalies that you think. Interestingly enough, because
No.
that's it's kind of the game of all of it. I've noticed.
Yeah.
But it's really just that. I think that's the hardest thing is there's. Every time you think it's like, oh, it's figured out, it's still just such a process.
And it's different for everyone. I mean,
Yeah,
so what's
and
the secret?
that's
There's
absolutely
no
true.
secret.
There's no
Just
secret.
be really good at what you do, and then work will find you.
And
Do
work
you believe
really
that?
hard and be
Yeah.
and I think the other thing is just be really good to people, be good on set,
Professional.
just be a really like a real human being
Yeah.
to people, and that's gonna go a long way.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that are like, oh, when I make it, I'm gonna like, I'm gonna give it back to everybody and this and that. It's like
That's silly,
you're
too.
you're gonna have like such a short window because as soon as people can like crush you
Yeah.
because of the way you now treated them for how you were treated,
Yeah.
like it's not gonna maintain. And
Exactly.
9 times out of 10, the people that held you back aren't going to be the people that you're going to be then treating bad anyways. Because they're not, normally the people that are holding you back aren't really making themselves anyways.
Right. So you're in a different realm once you
Yeah,
get there.
yeah.
So from there, so you were 90210,
Mhm.
and then
That
what
was like
happened?
my big break.
That was
I
your
guess
big
you could
break.
say. But
Wait, but
Did
what
you have
did you
more than
play on
5
that?
words? Did you
I
have
had
like
one line.
Woo! Do you remember the
Give me
line
the
today?
line.
It's Justin.
Oh, we don't have a clip of that. We got to put it up. Oh my
love it.
God. I have a kid named Justin.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah?
I'm
There you
just
go.
letting you
It's
know.
Justin.
Justin.
And how do you audition for that thing? You just do it. You
Yeah.
can't like go
Okay,
overboard.
I have to know. Do you just show up and you've got 1,000 people?
Yeah,
they
pretty
get in
much,
the room and they
right?
go, "It's Justin." Then the next guy's like,
It's Justin.
I think I know how I booked the part. It's
How?
really interesting you asked that question because like it's funny. It's a very simple thing and you don't want to like overdo it
Overkill.
and whatnot. But in the scene, like I'm making out with this girl and I'm like supposed to be like putting my clothes back on the originally way it was written.
"I want to be an actress."
So, they say, oh, he's got his pants off and this and that. And they changed the script. But the script I went to go in, receive, said he's like pulling up his pants. And I'm like, okay, they're not going to
That's-
want that, number
yeah.
one. And number two, even if they won't do that in the audition room, they might shoot it. Now,
Yeah.
we didn't even end up shooting it that way. But that being said, like he was kind of like getting
Disheveled.
back disheveled. And what I decided to do was to be like, buckling my
Your belt,
buckle,
that's a
my belt.
good
like I was
choice.
finishing, like
Yeah.
I had just already put my pants back on, and I just said it naturally. It was just like I think you do a lot of things like that, but I think in that moment I was the right look, the right what they had
And
in
they
mind,
like that
and then I
simple-
brought probably something no one else thought of.
Yeah.
I just
And they're
I
like
guess,
that guy,
too.
right? So
Yeah.
they're like,
And
him.
there,
I mean,
there
it's-
were probably how many people were in that room? I mean, in the
there were a lot.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
amazing
a
how many
ton.
people they pull in for one one line like that.
But again, the overnight success thing, like I'd been in to see the casting director
Several times, see?
Several times.
You build a
So,
relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like my first time there, and I think
Yeah.
she'd been looking for something for me. So it's like
And she liked you,
she
you know,
liked me.
and she wanted
if
you
they're
to.
bringing back that often, that there's like
They like you. There's
they
something
like
there.
You,
So, okay, from there, you got that part. So you get your first credit.
yep.
So
IMDb.
then here is the
And then that's the wake up call, like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
so
now what?
oh look
Why
at
isn't
you all
everyone
relaxed.
calling
This is
me?
so your
I like
world.
this
I
world.
love this.
It's
I know.
huge.
Oh wait, I need to interrupt you. I need you to know I was in a movie. Yes, I really
All
was.
right.
Would you like to know it? The Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Yeah,
All
Were you
right.
the
You go look
reporter?
me up,
Were you
and
the-
All
okay, I
think
was
you
a
were-
reporter.
She played herself.
I was
there you
so
go.
excited.
Yeah,
That's a
that's fun.
stretch.
I was on set with Wes Craven, and I was like,
Hey,
oh my
that's
god,
great.
this is like big time. And I have my own little trailer with the star on it. So
It's
like,
fun, right?
Can't say I haven't made it in Hollywood.
It
Like,
never gets old. Like,
No,
I mean,
it's
every time you're
exciting.
on set and whatnot, I just
No.
I just get
You get your trailer with the
I'm like, oh,
name.
this is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so after
I hope I
90210
never get like to the point where that still doesn't.
Are you going to be
just-
demanding? I want all chocolate
Nah,
M&Ms.
that's not
No,
that's
no
not
way.
who he
Please.
is.
No
We'll
way.
come- I'm gonna be
I
like
grew
your
up,
mother.
I'm a mountain
You're
kid.
not
like,
going to do that.
I'm a snowboard instructor. Like
Yeah.
I grew up
Yeah,
like
he's like a
fixing
cool
stuff
guy.
and
He can
building
laid back.
things.
I can tell. You'll take it if it comes to you, and you'll take it when it doesn't. It's like whatever comes rolling your way, you're ready for
Well,
it.
I'm also a filmmaker. Like I shot a short film as a producer that went to Cannes, and
Cool.
I'm very much involved in the film, like making behind the scenes as well, and I want to continue to be doing that. So
Yeah.
I've done almost every single position in Hollywood
Right.
while I was building my way up through here. So I've been that guy who's had to go like get coffee. I've been the guy who has to set up the craft
It
service
makes you a
table. I've been
better person.
Exactly, and it's like I know what they're going through, and you know what? When you're on set, like the acting, the job of the actor is actually very hard because you have to keep it together even though there's so much downtime.
Yeah.
You got to like stay in character even though there's tons of people on set. You got to there's all
Mm-hmm.
these elements you have to do and be real and be this and that, but like ultimately a lot of your job is done by the time you get to set if you've done
True.
your work right.
Right.
So to be like I get why people get a little diva-ish because they're trying to stay, they're trying to maintain,
And they're probably
they're trying to
just
stay in that
nervous,
headspace. They're
yeah.
nervous, and they
I
want
agree.
things
They're
right.
probably nervous a lot of times.
Well, but I think they want to maintain, like, if they have a diet, I mean, like, they're
have
just
to
keeping
stay in their
everything
zone.
together. They're trying to stay in their zone. But that being said, it's like, I don't know. I'm a firm believer in that, like, you can kind of, like, a good actor can make it through any scenario. If you're good, you can rise to the challenge anytime, and you don't need to run over people
Right.
who are just trying to do their job
Right.
in the meantime. You don't need to be that specific. So that was my, like, I kind of get it thing, but ultimately, I think you're just better off just kind of knowing once you're there, you're really fortunate to be there. There's thousands of people that would kill to have your job.
Right.
And it's like, just enjoy it. Just enjoy the moment. Don't be a diva. I mean, yeah, if you have like specific like things for your health or something, I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
I know a couple, and you know who they are. A couple of the really well-known rock
Yeah,
stars.
she has. Well, also she has
I have a
major
nice-
friends in the biz.
I do, and you want to talk about divas? I mean, I think they probably are at the top of the list. I mean, forget movie actors or TV actors. Some of these guys really are amazing, but they're always on the road and they're constantly traveling, and they need what they need to come with them. I mean, I get all that actually, and
Yeah,
some
it's
of
a
my
fine balance. You know,
there
it's
is
like
a
where
fine
do you draw the
balance.
line, right? So
there is a balance.
Just
and
be
people-
nice. You got to be nice.
that's the thing. And I think people will then help you get those things if you're nice.
Yeah.
Like they'll understand, oh, okay, hey, like he's trying to keep it together. There's a lot of pressure on actors. I mean,
I think so.
a lot of pressure. 'Cause,
I have a
mean,
lot of respect for you.
You gotta think about. I mean, like how much money is riding on each shot. People don't really think about that. You know, like well, okay, let's just. I mean, I'm throwing out like hypothetical numbers here, right? But let's say one of the bigger, maybe it's $100 million budget or something,
Right.
and that's big time now.
Right.
But I mean, maybe they're shooting like 40, 50 days
Mm-hmm.
because it's a bigger budget film as well. Maybe more if they're lucky, But like the main shooting days. So
You're on
think
a
about-
schedule.
Think about when you just divide that. Like think about how much money per day, per second, per hour is on the line. And if they mess up, they have to go back and do it again. That it just adds
It's a
up.
lot
So
of
it's
pressure.
like it's a lot of pressure, and I think that's nerves in a sense, like you said. But I think it just the pressure.
Just roll with it. People
You
just have
need
to
to be
learn.
on point. If you can't do that,
Right. You're going to
gone.
be got. You,
I mean,
they'll- you won't get a next job.
I learned that in the soap opera world. They're shooting 5 episodes a week,
that's
at minimum,
cool.
if not more.
So from 90210, you went to Days of Our Lives. Was
Yep.
that your next gig? I
What
mean,
was the time
Come
frame?
on, that's
Couple
sort of
years,
Yeah, I was
1
gonna
year?
say that's sort of kind of like
People don't know it's
a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big
You
deal.
weren't like in some student film for 5 years. I mean, you just went right to Days of Our Lives. from your car.
Yeah, not really right from there though. That's the
That's
thing.
what people think.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
it
sort of
seems like exactly. So, no, and I'm with you on that. And it was another year or so, and interestingly enough, like I was brought in for like a very small character that barely was like again like a one line thing or something, and it just kind of kept building from there.
Because you did that. You brought the talent. They start you out, and then if you were bringing in viewers and
They
they
test
like
you out a little bit, too.
you get a bigger part. So kudos to you.
Yeah, I had auditioned for other parts, and the casting director really liked me and found something for me that she could kind of just get me in on, and then the producers ended up really liking
And
me,
that's
I
a
guess,
show on
and-
CBS, right? Days of Our Lives?
No, it's on NBC.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because I've noticed something with my son is like all of a sudden he's like booking things for ABC. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. Like
I think it does, right?
think
Because your
they
name
kind of
is
get
out there with
talked
their
about.
casting
I don't
director.
know. I wondered maybe it's just a fluke.
You know, it's funny. Like I have a little bit of insight on it, but not a ton. And I definitely think that's a factor because people work together once
They kinda
once
talk in
someone's
the
reliable,
lunchroom or something?
Or
Yeah.
if you go into audition for them, they can also ask a colleague that they've worked with that's already at that show. So I'm sure there's some correlation, but
yeah, not necessarily.
again,
though,
there's
is
no
what you're saying.
rules.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's so hard to say. I mean, I think if that's working, it's actually great because maybe one network does do that, maybe one network doesn't
Yeah,
do
you
that.
just
You know
don't
what I
know.
mean? So
So
Did you
Days
tell
of Our
him what
Lives.
your son's been on? I mean, can we say?
Well, it's not. I want to talk about him.
Okay.
I'd love to hear.
Well, we'll talk later.
All right.
We need to get you remind me of a young Jim Morrison. Has anyone told you that?
No, but I love
He's
that.
hip and cool.
I live in Laurel Canyon,
The
so there you go.
Doors,
Maybe it's like
his
I'm
house
absorbing
is right
his.
there
yeah.
behind Pache, my favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
You like it too. He looks like a Jim Morrison, like in the young days before he went nuts with alcohol.
Maybe it's time for another Doors remake.
I think so.
Oh, they do one
and I
every, like,
do
5
like
or
the
10
Doors
years.
I know.
music, so I'm
He
all
is
for it.
so
I
cool.
love that movie.
Yeah, you need
The
to
Doors
you
movie,
need to
the
play
original
Jim
one.
Morrison.
So what kind
remake.
of character? Yeah, because so what kind of characters do you go out for? I mean, because he definitely has that really super cool kind of.
I go out for a lot of random stuff. That's kind of the business. But most of the stuff I go in on is kind of like, although this is starting to change a little bit, but I go in for like, kind of abandoned teens, and
That's funny.
got kids from the wrong side of the
Yeah,
tracks.
you have that tough guy thing, but you're cool too, so I can see
so
that.
funny. I know. It's
And you're probably
that's-
like laughing at that, right?
Well, no, I'm not. I mean, like, I've definitely. It's just from where I came from and where I went up.
Yeah.
I was not the like. I don't know. I was like a computer nerd basically in
So
a lot of
funny.
ways. But I mean, I did a lot of like construction and things, and I was a snowboard instructor, as I was saying. So. Yeah, I mean, I've got those elements that I think weave in.
And
It's just
you
funny. You
use
don't
it.
perceive yourself in the way that people see you
yeah.
sometimes. And
We have to talk about this new show on CBS.
Well, I've got two things.
Oh, I
I
don't
want
wanna
to hear
jump
about
ahead.
Justified, right?
Okay.
Tell me about Justified and also Life in Pieces.
That's the new
okay.
one.
Yeah.
I just have to say, so I'm driving here. I thought I would be late, but that's no surprise. And she was just rattling off some of your shows, and she goes, "Life in Pieces, Deborah, kind of like your life today." Okay,
I go,
and I'm like,
well,
"What?"
she kept saying, "What's the name of it?" I go,
I think a
just
lot of
think
people's
of your
lives are in
life.
pieces right now.
Yeah,
Something's
yeah.
going on right now. I don't know.
Their stars are lined up. We're
Yeah.
all going nuts.
Yeah, and I said, "Oh, what a cool title." So, can you tell me about that, and then also about Justified? I wanna
Yeah,
hear about
Life in Pieces. It was it's really great show, really amazing experience working
Great
with
cast.
the cast. That was what I was just
Tell
Tell
me
us.
about it.
Unbelievable cast. We
there
got
you
like
are.
James Brolin, Diane Wiest,
Do we have the
Colin
clip of the
Hanks,
trailer?
Betsy
We-
Brandt.
I wonder if we have that. I think we got it. I don't know if you guys put it in.
45-second.
Yeah, can we play that?
Yeah, you want to watch it?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
because it's.
We'll play right now.
Anything you want to ask me?
I think I'm good, Dad.
Are you sure? Because your sister tells me you're a virgin. It's okay. I didn't lose my virginity until college. I thought I lost it in high school, but that was disqualified.
How does it get disqualified?
You know that space between the two cushions of a couch?
You lost your virginity to a couch? I can't believe you're a doctor.
Don't worry, I'll take good care of Tyler.
Made you a sandwich. So you have a...
kidding?
No, it's free. Just stick it in your pocket.
I
so you
don't
have
want
it
it.
for later. I don't care if you eat it. There are cranberries in it, and I want you to have it in case you need a snack.
I wish your mom would shove her sandwich in my pants.
Wow,
that was
looks
really
good.
cool. Oh, that is great. So it's on what?
On CBS.
You must be so
September.
proud.
Oh my gosh. So when? I mean, it was picked up. This is
September.
such a
They
big
don't know
deal.
the. You
September
can Google
21st.
it. Oh, the 21st. There you
Yeah.
go. Coming
That's
up.
the same day as The Voice opening. I know somebody on The Voice, so I'm like.
I'll
so
be
into The
watching
Voice.
this.
Yeah, me too. I'd
Hard
rather watch-
competition there.
Yeah,
Nah,
I'll be watching.
You'll beat him out. You'll definitely.
So
beat
what's
him
it
out.
about? It's about family, different storylines of
Yeah,
different family members, right?
You know, it's not like anything you've ever seen before, and yet it's like everything you've ever seen before in a good way. I mean that, meaning like it's gonna be very relatable, but at the same time, it's being told in this kind of like storybook way, which I haven't quite seen in like a sitcom before.
So it takes place where?
It just takes place in Los Angeles. I mean, it's these families. I mean, they're going through their lives as they are existing, and they're kind of just going through the process. There's a lot of, the closest correlation I would say was probably Modern Family, maybe.
Right.
But this is far edgier.
And isn't the executive producer from Modern Family on the show? I read that.
Yeah, there's all, yeah.
Who?
That's
Which
a big
one?
deal.
Steve?
I don't know. Sorry.
Anybody know? Who,
I read
who's-
it.
You know what? I know Aaron Kaplan is the creator of the show. I'm
Yeah.
not
There's a
sure what his-
connection there. There's
Yeah.
one of the producers. It was on Modern Family. So
yeah, I know there's a lot of people connected
Yeah,
to Modern
yeah.
Family. I actually don't know how many of
Which
them, because
was
there's
a great-
actually more than one.
And that's great to
like the entire,
mention
a lot of the
because-
crew came
Yeah.
from Modern
You-
Family.
you got the
Because
best
so many
things.
people know and love Modern Family, so that is
Yeah.
just
I
great.
mean,
to
I watch
mention
the
and know.
reruns every day.
Yeah,
I
but
love that
again,
show.
it's
So this is different
It's
because
very different though
Okay.
too, because there's so much like it's a lot more it's a lot kind of drier in some ways, but then more slapstick in other ways at other times. Like it's very edgy. That's
Yeah.
the best way I can put it. And I've never
like that.
I've
Especially
never
for
really
a
kind of seen
network,
anything
right?
like I think it's going to kind of shake things up for CBS, and people are really excited about it.
But don't we
Yeah.
need
So-
that? I mean, I've
I-
always thought some of the stuff that's out there. Look, I don't watch a lot of TV because my life is in pieces.
Yeah.
Not really, but it's just I have an eclectic life as well. So I find so much of the stuff out there kind of a little boring. So it's really good to hear that there's something else out there that is just sort of a little
I think,
edgy.
yeah, they're trying to
right?
shake
Come on.
things up, and it's a stellar cast, and it's kind of weaving through all these storylines that they all connect because it's all part of this one family. And so that's where kind of the similarity to Modern Family comes in, but I think that's where it kind of ends too. In
Got
that,
it.
none of the storylines are the same.
Do you think it's going to
They're
take a
very
while
different.
because it's different and edgy for people to catch? Sometimes you have to watch a couple episodes to get
I think it's
connected.
going to get people
Right
right away
away.
because
Okay.
I think
I
there's
do
so much.
too.
I think there's so much weaved in. In fact, even when we were shooting and people were just talking about how the studios were really excited about it, it's so. I didn't want to get my hopes up, but
Yeah.
like from what I had been hearing, and again, this was my first involvement in a pilot, that they were really sure it was going to get picked up, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah, that is rare.
So, and then the response to it was just overwhelmingly good, and the people are loving the trailer and things, and it's just like, I think that the storylines are going to be very unique enough and separate enough that it's almost going to be like a couple little shows in one very quickly, in
right.
a way.
That's exciting. You
So-
must be over the top.
I'm
excited.
very excited, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is what you've worked so hard for.
Absolutely, but I
You gotta
just
knock
keep
on wood.
working
You
and doing
can't- yeah.
doing the work, doing the job, and
Right.
you know.
And then when you're the next, well, you're already an A-lister in our book, but when you're
There's
doing all
no
those
doubt
tie-ins,
about
Thank you.
you better come back to the Shut Up Show and not say, I don't
Anytime.
have time for those
Okay.
girls.
Anytime.
Forget that. I want to be on it. So, like, if I want to be on, I've got a big major like motion picture credit. What do I do? Like,
You
if
don't
somebody-
talk to me, that's for sure.
That's a producer job.
No,
Because
I'm
if
just
I
messing.
knew that, then I'd be doing way better.
No, I'm messing with him. He has made it. I mean, that's a
No,
really
I
big
know
show
that,
on
but
a
I'm
top network. That's a big deal. What? Tell me real quick about Justified. What
Oh,
was that?
Justified was awesome. I mean, and that again, so Life in Pieces is kind of ushering me into the college kind of
Yeah.
age thing, and in Days I became college age in Days. So now I'm kind of starting to play college, but on Justified and before,
Yeah.
I was always playing these kind of like abandoned teens and just kind of like wrong side of the track teens, and Justified was that. So I got to play this character that was a really fun character because he wasn't exactly the sharpest kid, but he really was a very passionate guy, and he really cared about his girlfriend in the show, and that I came in as the boyfriend of Caitlin Dever. And I kind of was a catalyst, and I liked that. It was really fun because I got to work with, again, amazing cast. Timothy Olyphant, just was
And you-
really supportive of me
You
on the
learn
show.
from
and whatnot,
everyone
so.
on the set,
Yeah,
right? I mean, you keep learning as you go.
That's what I
with
was gonna
the people
say.
that have done it for years before you.
Well, and Timothy Olyphant, he taught me a lot while I was
Really?
on there. Yeah,
What
and
was
he
the one piece of information? Is it complicated or is it?
The best advice Tim gave me was, he said, I'm trying to remember the exact specifics because I don't want to butcher it. I can kind of generalize it.
Yeah.
But if I can get it exactly what he said, it would be better. But it was something in the lines of, subtlety is the key.
Yeah.
we hadn't even really started yet, but I was kind of asking him questions and just seeing if he had any advice for me and whatnot. And I was a big fan of his, not just from the show even, but I've seen a lot of his stuff from even things that most people hadn't seen, just kind of randomly, just an actor I'd seen a bunch of stuff of and really liked, and it was cool to be able to work with this person that I'd seen since I was like 11 or 12 and things. And I just was like, do you have any advice for me? This is one of my bigger, like, first big real guest star credits on a primetime network. And he told me just, like, keep it subtle, like, do as much as you can without doing anything at all at the same time.
That's good advice.
And and it's just like when you kind of look at him, he's definitely the king of subtlety as well too. And he really gets so much emphasized and so much across with almost very little.
Yeah, that's acting, because it almost doesn't look like acting.
Exactly.
Do we have another show behind us, or can we keep going a little bit?
There's no show after you.
Okay,
Well,
I have a quick question. So we don't have to break right this.
Well,
minute.
he might have to go.
I'm good.
No, he's good because it's a couple things he wanted to get. How do you prepare for a role? Like, do they give it to you and you just sit? Do you just feel the character? Do you have a coach that you work with? How does that work?
I have coaches that I work with kind of for different things, but I've done a lot of training and I've done a lot of preparation, and I did theater. I actually was the lead in this show called The Columbine Project, which I won a bunch of awards for, and really kind of kicked me into somewhat of method acting too. I wouldn't say I'm a method actor because I think that can be almost a little dangerous if you take it too far.
Yeah.
But I incorporate elements of method and Meisner and Stanislavski technique, which I don't know if I'm speaking Spanish here. But
No, I know it well.
So you know what I'm talking about. So maybe to the audience, but so basically kind of all roots back to the Actors Studio, the original Actors Studio. So go check it out. That's actually kind of cool little history on actors. I really just kind of absorb it. I think a lot of those things now are just kind of ingrained into me. So I just work on the material and I kind of just naturally do it. I'm thinking about it throughout the day. I'm thinking about the character. And I try to just kind of live in it without obsessing about it. So that kind of helps with the, the not having... That helps with the subtlety in my mind. So just kind of being it without being it. And then I click it on when I start shooting it, but it's also about rehearsal without too much rehearsal for me. Because I'm a big believer in practice makes perfect. But if you over practice in acting, then it becomes
fake.
rehearsed.
Yeah.
So what I do is I rehearse without throwing a ton into it, just to kind of be there, be on it. And then when it's time to go, then it's like, okay, now I start really kind of allowing myself to be almost to imagine while I'm there, so that those things that I would create when I'm preparing, I'm actually finding them in this when I'm doing it.
Don't you think that's the audition process is almost harder than actually going in and shooting it? Don't you think?
I think it's an outdated process.
I mean, it's
I
crazy.
think it's completely
How do these
outdated.
people do this? Like, I've got to act this way in 2 seconds, walk in, and
Well, then
walk
what would
out.
you do if you didn't audition?
Well, I mean, we're in the day and age of like
Tape.
We're in the day and age of reels and footage and things. And I mean, honestly, hypothetically, if I had my way, it would be completely changed around, and there would be things where you were just doing kind of chemistry reads and things like that to a certain extent. And I'm not saying I would just wipe out the entire audition process, but I do think a lot of the systems and a lot of the things are outdated. I do like taping better in a lot of ways, being like given some time. I think reading against a dry person who doesn't,
it's hard to act against the reader, right? When
I
you
mean, that's
you
not
go in
what,
and they just
that's not what
read.
you do in a film. You never act with someone who's not there and present with you. And if they are, they shouldn't be there.
Right.
So why would you test someone in that scenario?
Doesn't make
It
sense.
doesn't make
Or at
any
least
sense.
bring in your final candidates and read 2 or 3 of them, right?
Yeah, and the again, I'm going to be a little careful what I say, but I mean, it's just this. It's kind of this monster that's created itself out of. It's kind of like government, and bureaucracy. Once something gets so big, it's not going to change unless it has to be, or unless something forces it to change.
I kind of disagree. I think eventually it's going to go that way.
I think it will eventually.
It's
maybe.
going to have to.
Well, and
because
again,
it's almost
everything
ridiculous.
evolves. Everything does evolve. But what I'm saying is they're not going to put the pressure on themselves to change.
No, right. Why should they?
Exactly.
They don't have to.
So it's either going to take a long time naturally, like you're saying, or if SAG and AFTRA ever stepped in or things like that. I don't think that's going to happen either. But that's a whole nother conversation. But I mean, I think that it's kind of an outdated system. I think that it'll evolve and grow and whatnot. But
do you worry about becoming?
I mean, I do it. You do it. It's part of the job. You know what I mean?
So making it as far as you have in this new show, being so famous, and we were talking about identity
Oh my
issues.
God! And all the
Do you
girls
worry
are
about
gonna
that?
throw themselves at his feet. Could you
Yeah.
imagine? Forget. I want to know about that first. Like,
Well,
is
I've
that
got a
like the most
girlfriend, so.
Oh, you have a girlfriend. Okay, so
Is she an actress too?
She is
She
an actress. She's
understands
very
your
talented
pain.
actress. In
Is
fact,
she?
she coaches me a lot too because
Is
she
she
has
under-
a master's degree in acting.
Oh,
She's
nice.
from Venezuela. So,
Oh, you got a little Latin.
Yeah,
Latin
I do.
girl.
Yeah,
That's
it's fun.
cool.
Oh, that's
Spicy.
so cute. Has she been anything you can tell us about?
No, she just she got her master's degree in acting recently,
Mm-hmm.
and she came from Venezuela not too long ago. So she's kind of new to the scene, but she's a very, very talented actress.
Oh,
so
nice.
a lot of her stuff was in theater in Venezuela,
Okay.
and whatnot. She did a few, I think, a couple soap operas in Venezuela.
Wow.
Though.
So she's gonna be fine because she's got some
She's gonna
experience,
do great.
You know?
Yeah, in fact, we're working on. I just produced and directed a short film that she's in. That's a period piece, 1920s piece that takes place in Paris, and we're trying to get
Ooh,
the feature going.
my favorite era.
People are really responding to the material, and she's incredible in it. I mean, she's just a really, really talented actress. It's really cool.
that's
to
Oh, I
watch.
think that's
Great.
So,
fantastic.
in fact, she actually helped me book Justified. She coached
Really?
me on Justified. So
Wow, you guys are meant to. You're like the power couple.
yeah,
So no
let's
more
see.
living in
Hopefully.
your car. You guys, I guess you guys or you live up in Laurel Canyon,
Yeah, I mean,
or in like a really sort of one of the
So that's
nicer
like-
communities here in Los Angeles.
So I do production. I run the production division of a company called Credence Entertainment, and
Mm-hmm.
I handle production side of things. So I live up there because through the process of that, we got
Go
this
around.
house to work out of and whatnot.
Oh,
and
cool.
The whole thing. So my thing now is kind of just trying to be involved as much in film and acting, and I'm fortunate that is now what I'm doing is both those things. But you know what? It's a struggle still. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm still trying to,
Right.
get by. And I know I've talked to a lot of like working actors who've made fair amounts of money. And it's funny. It's like, you still are always kind of,
You're
there's no
working it.
certainty. There's
No.
no certainty.
And you
know?
could be here one minute,
And then
so
you're
you
there
shouldn't
the
go
next
crazy
minute.
when
Yeah,
you
you
start
can't,
making
and
money. You
that's the
got to
thing.
save it because you.
But you
how
know,
long
then
do
people
the
get families and they invest and they have a
Right.
mortgage and this and that, and then their expenses go up too.
Right,
because
right.
you know what I mean? And then now the expenses are up, but the jobs have just faded away for a few months.
Yeah.
You know, and it's
So
like
it sounds like you are really smart looking at all this. But you were telling us during a little break before that, because when we were talking about Ashley Madison, he was in the studio with us, and you were telling me that you're somebody who, you're
well,
Identity.
not had anything to do with Ashley Madison.
No,
but,
no.
Your
no,
identity.
When you started talking about the identity theft situations, that I've been a major victim of identity theft. In fact, we're still trying to figure it out.
That
so
is so scary.
yeah, it's pretty scary. Let me tell you this story. This is a
Yeah.
good, bad story.
Yeah.
So I went to go find a job between Days of Our Lives and 90210 to get a job on driving for Lyft. I found out about Lyft.
Oh,
I went-
Lyft, yeah, the taxi.
And I got hired.
Call him for a ride. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
no, you can't, and here's why.
Okay.
So, in fact, I give credit to Lyft. Anybody who says that Lyft and these companies don't do their due diligence
So
to
Lyft
like
is
look
doing
into
it.
people, they are
Good
doing
to
it.
know.
Lyft is
Okay.
doing it. In fact, so I got hired, and then they said we're going to probably hire you, but we have to do your background check. I said no
and you're
problem.
like, no
we're
big
being
deal,
good.
right?
They come back to me and they say, sorry, we can't hire you. You have a 21-day arrest record. I'm like,
Oh my God.
I'm like, I absolutely do not have a 21-day arrest record.
That freaks me out.
Yeah, well, and here's the kicker. So this has been going on for a long time. So I go, I find out, I find the report and whatnot, and lo and behold, I have a 21-day arrest record, plus another thing that like the guy got let off on with a warning that led up to this. So I have all this stuff on my record now, and I went down to the police department, LAPD, asked
God.
and they confirmed it. This is the crazy part. They confirmed it. They looked at the thing. They started looking up the information. They go, "Oh yeah, that's not you."
So they had a picture,
And they
it's
saw
not you.
my ID, and then they see the arrest record, and they go, "That's not you."
Oh my God.
They
So-
assign me a detective. The detective never gets back to me until I call him. He keeps running me around, things like that. Then supposedly that detective gets transferred. Then they assign me a new detective. Can't get a hold of him. I go through this for a year,
Oh my gosh.
and I'm still going through it. Nobody would take on the case. I went down to the court. They couldn't tell me who to talk to. I've literally
You
been
need to
doing
get a
this.
lawyer on it. I hate
Yeah,
to say it.
but
I
you know
mean,
what the crazy part is?
What?
Because it's going after the city. I'm sure there's lawyers out there that would want to help or be a part of this.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't work for 2 years. I mean,
Yeah,
literally.
because you can't. They have to check your record. And if you have to leave the country, you can't. If you're working on a job,
Yeah, I mean,
check your
God.
criminals.
so
yeah.
it's been a mess, and I
That's
mean, and I
terrible.
couldn't work, so I got denied the job. So because of this situation, there was a long time I couldn't get
That's
extra side money.
terrible.
Like I could be working on the side. Like
Yeah.
I'm a working actor, but I'm not so working that I couldn't use the extra income.
Right.
So, and the thing is, like, those guys,
Hmm.
now, none of the lawyers that I even contacted wanted to deal with this because nobody wants to go after PD,
PD,
or any of these things. And not that I want to go after them, but
You just
like,
want to clear your
I
name.
just want to clear my name. But now there's
Well, where
also
did the
major
guy-
damages too.
Where did the guy get arrested?
What's gonna
Here in
happen?
L.A.?
L.A. Somewhere in L.A.
So
I
how
don't-
did they get your name?
Well, the crazy part is he's more me than I'm me because I was never arrested. I was never fingerprinted before
that's
this.
scary, no.
So when I submit my fingerprints in and whatnot, I'm not the one on file. He
Do you
is.
have a passport?
I do have a passport, but that was before. Again, this is L.A. So the good news about
Yeah.
so
You
states. I
yeah,
mean, I'm
you-
clean in other states.
But just here.
Oh, but I've been pulled over and like
That's not cool.
I've had because of my record now. They just give me the like.
So it's still there. Like you can't get rid of this.
I want to do a show on this.
Yeah, we gotta.
I really do about what do you with identity
I think you should
theft.
do your next film on this. This is serious.
Well, they made a
stuff.
comedy movie about it, and it's surprisingly accurate, other than the crazy non-accurate
yeah.
stuff that they get into.
So
but
where does it stand now? It's still on your record. You still can't remove it.
still on my record.
That's bull. We need a good lawyer.
Yes,
Don't
we do.
call the station.
No, and I'm talking to a few people, but look, I was recommended to maybe even go to the ACLU, which I hadn't thought of. So
I
someone
wonder
just,
if SAG-AFTRA can help you a little bit because
if they do, I might then change my opinions on SAG-AFTRA because they have not done a lot of help for a lot of people. In
Well,
my
maybe
mind.
they will. I don't know. That's a good story. That's a very scary thing. I mean, you're just going about your life and someone takes your identity like that, and a criminal. That's not cool. That's
No,
hard.
it's been tough, and like it's made me a lot stronger. It's taught me a lot about the situation.
And you have no idea how he got your name and your.
I have no idea
Insane.
That's
because
actually
they won't
scary.
tell me.
That's scarier to me
They
than
won't
the
tell me.
hacking of the. Because that's like
All
a
right.
criminal.
No.
So anybody out there looking for Riley on his brand new TV show?
Yeah, let's go back to
he's
the positive.
not like the creepy guy who has been arrested. He's like
Yeah, it's
the
actually
really,
good. I got it out here
Yeah,
on
get it
record
out,
too.
man.
Now that
Yeah,
it's like
he is
in
not
case
the
someone
creepy guy.
stumbled
He's
on that. or
not
something.
that guy.
You can use it. You can give us as like.
Although now people are gonna be looking into it too. so.
But that's not him.
You've got an honest face. I don't think so.
Yeah,
so,
no, it was not me. I mean, and again, the police even confirmed it. That was
Yeah.
the crazy part, that they confirmed it there when I went in, and then they.
Then-
I mean, it's
It'd be
honestly,
a cool
it's almost
episode
like
for Life in
But
Pieces. or
here's the
On
crazy
Pieces.
part. Think about this. Not only was he arrested as me, he was incarcerated as me.
Oh,
so he
Lord.
got through the court system as me too. In jail.
How the heck did? Oh, that's
Well,
disheartening.
Yeah, it's
I
scary,
can't even
man.
comprehend.
So,
That's really scary to
yeah.
me. Wow. Well, you know what?
I don't know what
you're
to
gonna
say.
You're going to
'cause
get
this is like
cleared.
an area that I'm completely like I know nothing
There's got to
about.
be a way to get it
But
cleared.
I want to get
Well,
it.
again, there's
listen
major
to me.
damages. I've had huge fallout. I basically got like accused of stuff, and like when cops pull me over, they're like,
Yeah, they're gonna automatically
they're
start
like, they got me
pushing
out of
you.
the car
Yeah.
and pushing me around, and,
Handcuff
like,
you.
Yeah, I mean, like it's bad. Like,
Yeah,
and then
that's
I
bad.
can't work things. I've had
Maybe
like,
you have to change your name.
No, this
That's
isn't.
what people told me.
No,
but
they're
that's
not
I
gonna
don't
change
do
your
it.
name.
That's
This is
exactly
who you
like,
are. No
come
way.
on.
But I feel like that might be the easiest thing at this
No,
point.
no.
I wouldn't want
I
to
want to
either.
get
I
somebody
wouldn't-
on the
I
show.
wouldn't want
But
to
the thing
either.
is, I can't actually, because then it's going to affect my acting
Yeah,
career.
yeah,
So
I
then there's
wouldn't
even
wanna
more
do it. No.
damages.
You know what? We're gonna make sure that
We're
it
going to
stays
find a
small.
lawyer. We got to find a lawyer.
I want to find somebody. I also want to do a show on it about
Yeah.
identity theft because this is messed up. I mean,
we
Yeah,
need-
when you guys were talking about like you said, I get those letters in the mail all the
It's
time too.
messed up.
Yeah.
Ironically, now I'm very protected on my credit because I've got like what you can do is there's a little piece of information. I'd love to come on the show because I've learned a lot about it.
I'll bring you back
But
on.
you can
bring it back on
if
for
you've
this.
been
With a lawyer.
if you've been a victim of any sort of identity theft, you can go to the IRS and have them lock and freeze your
Yeah,
credit.
right.
And you need to do that right away.
Yeah.
Because what it does is it prevents any further changes, and you can lock it for up to like 7 years.
But with
so it
your-
does. So I'm protected financially on a certain
But
level.
with the criminal thing, you don't
but
even
that
know.
there's nothing I can
You
do.
know
That's
what?
the story.
We're
The-
gonna get a lawyer on.
We're gonna
and
get a
we're gonna
lawyer.
get
You're coming
somebody.
back. You can even call in
come
if you
back
don't
up,
wanna-
and then you know what? We should have him on like sort of after the show starts too, so you can give us some updates about the show. Now, do you tape, film, whatever weekly? Is every week you're in there?
No, just like they're figuring out the schedule right now.
And he'll
So-
go back and do a bunch and then
Yeah,
stop.
they do them in segments.
Yeah.
So
Well,
All right,
we're going to
then
be
let's
watching.
Stay in touch, Riley
You're going places.
Bodenstab. Oh my
Yep.
gosh, did I do it right?
Yeah.
I hope you had fun.
thanks, guys. I had a great time.
I hope you had fun. You're adorable. I can't wait to see the show. I love the title, just that alone, right? Because it's my life in pieces.
The day, September 21.
September 21st. Watch it on network.
CBS.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Everybody go to CBS and watch Riley. Okay. So Riley, we'll have you back. We're going to do something a little bit about the show, but about the identity.
And we got to get a
theft.
lawyer.
We
to
got to
fix
figure
that
this out for
problem.
Riley.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks
Anybody
for
out
being
there,
here.
please let us know. I mean, again, this damages to collect
That's
too in my mind. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Well,
it was
thank
really
you.
fun. Okay, everybody,
Bye.
and thank you to our great
See you
board
next
op.
week.
All right, thanks, guys.